Hey, this is Wes Fryer. Today is February 1st, 2025, and I'm here at what is now called Latta Place. This was previously known as the Latta Plantation. This is a antebellum plantation home that is now part of the Latta Nature Preserve that is operated by the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Parks and Recreation. My wife and I, for the first time, came to the Raptor Center, which is just a few minutes down the road. And as I was reading a little bit about the history, in the English Wikipedia article, I read about the controversy that took place in 2022 with a planned event that led to a lot of controversy and actually, I guess, the unfunding of the nonprofit here, and then the takeover by the county. And I don't know if the nonprofit's actually been disbanded or not. So the sign here says private drive, no trespassing, and behind me here is what looks like maybe was the visitor center. But yeah, totally closed here just a couple years ago. That happened just about a month before we moved here to the area in August of 2022. So what this reminds me of is Historic Brattonsville, which is in York County, South Carolina. An absolutely fantastic historic site that has antebellum history. It has Revolutionary War history, but also history of the enslavement of African Americans and plantation life. I suspect that these small little white houses that are over here on the side of the main plantation house, maybe those are slave houses, I don't know. I hope that this area will be opened again for historical interpretation and for visitors. But it really is important for us to connect with historic places that have such important history and to uncover hidden history. So I'll include a link to some of those articles on WFAE, which is our local NPR affiliate, for that incident that happened in 2022, and some of the other links that are available about the Latta Plantation. And I'll also include a link to Brattonsville, because like I said, Brattonsville is in York County. It's a short distance from here, and it really is wonderful. And it's a fantastic living history nonprofit and organization. It's part of a series of museums and historic sites that are part of York County in South Carolina. So anyway, glad to discover this, and hope that this area will again be open to the public at some point. Okay, so the historian in me is going to have to read this marker. This is Hopewell Presbyterian Church, and reminds me of Philadelphia Church, which is in Mint Hill, which is actually where we worshipped last Sunday. Today is February the 1st, 2025. And so one of the things I noticed in this graveyard, because I think a graveyard is a burial area next to a church versus a cemetery, is these looks like stone boxes. And so I'm gonna read you this this historical marker that's right here. All right, well, I'm not gonna be able to get very good video footage of the marker here itself, so let me go ahead and just, I guess, pan on the cemetery as I read this. It's called the oldest cemetery in the walls. You are standing before the oldest continuously existing human institution in northern Mecklenburg County, Hopewell Presbyterian Church. There were 7 churches in this southern region of North Carolina Piedmont before the Revolutionary War. Called the sister churches, they were all Presbyterian because most of the original European settlers in this area were Scots-Irish Presbyterians from Northern Ireland. For more information on the church building itself, please see the visitor station on the west side of the church. The oldest grave in this cemetery is dated 1775. Burials were performed here regularly until 1840, when a new cemetery was started on the back side of the church buildings. Archaeologists and infrared photography indicated there are graves within most of the gaps between the tombstones. That is, some graves were never marked. Others were marked with simple field stones. A few may have been delineated with wooden markers which decayed with time. This cemetery contains the 3rd highest concentration of box markers in the state of North Carolina. And I'll zoom in so you can see those over here. These are the ones that appear to be rectangular stone boxes. there are no bodies within the boxes as everyone is buried underground. Look closely and you can find evidence of what was called table markers as well. These look like stone tabletops held upright by six stone legs. These two styles were part of a neoclassical revival, which means there was renewed interest in ancient Greek and Roman designs. Back in the early 1800s, when those markers were installed, they were worth the equivalent of what the average family was paying for a house, proof of the early wealth in this community. If you are searching for ancestors or for historic persons, go near the front of the church building. There you can find giant tablets that have a map and numerical listing of the graves in this cemetery. The stone walls that you see on both sides of Beatty's Ford Road consists of stones originally stacked in a wall that went all the way around this cemetery. You can see this wall in the background of the photograph above. The records state that this wall was erected to, quote, keep out children and livestock, end quote. In 1928, the North Carolina Department of Transportation was beginning to hard surface many of the rural roads in the state. Churches with stone walls were solicited to donate them to the cause as the stones were crushed for the surfacing of the roads. Ramah Presbyterian Church on the east side of Huntersville donated their wall, but a son of this church, B.L. Baxter Davidson, asked that the stones be given to him. He constructed this wall, in addition to other walls, columns, and historic monuments along Beatty's Ford Road. He also created and erected hornet's nest mileage signs the whole length of Beatty's Ford Road. The only one remaining in public is set into this wall just past the church sign. See if you can find mile marker 11, exactly 11 miles from the square of Trade and Tryon, and that's in Uptown Charlotte. Near the church building, you can see the gate to the cemetery. A slave named Lewis Pfeiffer carved the gate posts. One of the mysteries of Hopewell is where were the church's enslaved members buried. Usually they were interred outside the walls of the main cemetery, but archaeologists and infrared experts have been unable to find evidence of such burials. The only other option is slave cemeteries on the master's land scattered throughout the community. For instance, there is the McCoy Cemetery on McCoy Road, an easy distance from here. Feel free to explore the rest of the campus, and you will find other visitor stations like this one. This monument, given in loving memory of the Van Buren Potts family, originally a stepping stone in the Potts house on Patterson Road. This stone may have previously been a front step to Hopewell Presbyterian Church or Bethel Presbyterian Church. Wow. I am really fascinated by the history, and particularly the antebellum history of this area. We've only lived here for 3 years, but I am intrigued by the history of these 7 churches and am eager to learn more.